Hello, Explosion. Just thought I'd record a quick video for parents and players to sort of understand what's happening out there on the field with our base or our basic defense. So what we can do here is first of all walk through the different position names, and we'll start with our linemen, our guys up front. So over here, right in the middle, you see these letters that say TNT. Kind of fitting for a team called the Explosion that our linemen would have acronyms that spell TNT. But what these guys are responsible for is fighting as hard as they can to get through a gap, a space between the offensive linemen here, as quick as possible to put pressure on the ball carrier, whether that be the quarterback or one of these running backs, as quick as possible after the ball is snapped. And so what that'll do is if they fight super hard with lots of purpose and aggression to get through these gaps, we letter gaps on the defense. So the one closest to the center here going in either direction, this one is A, this one here is B, and the one outside of it is C, and then way out here, we call this a D gap. So the nose tackle is responsible for the A gap to the wide side of the field. The tackle next to him is responsible for the B gap, and the tackle on the short side of the field, which we call the weak side of the field, where there's less space, his job is to try to fight through this B gap. And they should be fighting with enough purpose that it makes these offensive linemen have to work hard to block them. We want to keep these offensive linemen here on the line and not going up field and blocking our other players, such as our linebackers. Just grab a pen here. All right, so that's what our linemen do. Outside of the linemen, we've got two positions that in our defense are called halfbacks, and we've named them different things. We've called the left side guy Lion, because he'll always play the left side. And our right side guy, we've called him Rhino, because he'll always play the right side. And we've chosen these kinds of aggressive animal names because their job is to, quote unquote, hunt the ball in the backfield. So their job when the ball is snapped is to charge upfield. They have to be looking towards the ball because they charge upfield as deep as the ball, and then they come in towards it to try to put pressure and take away time and space on the ball. So the Lion and Rhino on every play, their first steps are across the line of scrimmage, find the ball, get as deep as the ball in the backfield area back here, and then squeeze the ball from the outside in, taking away time and space. Okay, then outside of those guys, these guys over here, these are called cornerbacks. And what they do is they line up on the furthest receiver that the offense has on the outside, away from the ball. And on defense, we number receivers that are eligible to catch the ball or run with the ball with numbers from the sideline towards the ball. So this one here, he'd be number 1. This guy right here, he'd be number 2. And this guy would be number 3 on the weak side of the field. On the strong side, of course, again, is where there's more space or the most space. This guy's job, or this guy is number 1 right here, this guy's number 2, and this guy is number 3. So the cornerbacks, their job is to line up, find the number 1 receiver, the widest guy on their side, line up 1 yard off of the ball away from them, and they use a technique that's called jamming. When this guy tries to run upfield, when this guy tries to get upfield on the snap of the ball, what our cornerbacks do is they use their hands and feet to jam them, to try to make it really hard for those guys to run upfield. And they can fight with them for about 5 yards, and then they have to let them go. And then the cornerback is responsible for any time if the ball is run or passed into this area, which is about a 10-yard box, 10 to 15 yards back from the line of scrimmage out to the sidelines. They have a bit of a box, an area to defend. If the ball comes out there, they've either got to tackle it or they have to turn the ball back into the rest of the defense, to their buddies over here, who will be pursuing hard and trying to help them catch the ball carrier. Okay, so that's the cornerback's job. And then these guys here, inside of them, so the JK, which we call the Joker, and the BN, which we call the Bandit. In our defense, these guys are called safeties. So their job when they're lining up before the offense snaps the ball is they have to find the number 2 receiver. So again, this is the number 1 here from the sideline in. This guy, in the way that it's drawn, is number 2. So the Joker is on the wide side of the field where there's the most room. He finds his number 2 receiver, and he lines up about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage directly in front of him. We call that fronting the player. So the Joker's job is to front number 2, because his area of responsibility is this lane, it's called the seam, between the cornerback and our strong side linebacker. Lots of times teams will try to pass the ball in this roughly rectangular area from the line of scrimmage to about 15 to 20 yards back, straight up the field. And the Joker's first job is to make sure there are no runs or passes that get out here without him there as a defender. So he knocks the ball down or makes a tackle on anybody that catches a pass or runs the ball out here. If he can't make the tackle, again, like the cornerback, their job is to make sure they stay outside towards the sideline and make that ball have to turn back in towards where the rest of the defense is chasing and trying to come to help them tackle it. So that would be the same for the other side of the field, which of course is called the Bandit, right? This guy right here, his name is Bandit. He plays on the shorter side of the field where there isn't as much space, but same thing, fronts the number 2 receiver and protects a rectangle straight up the field for about 15 yards so that nobody can run or catch the ball in there without him being there to defend it. Okay, then we've got our speed demons of the defense, which are here in the middle, are Will, which is the weak side linebacker. I think we're going to call him Wham. Then we've got our middle linebacker, our Mac linebacker. We're going to call him Monster in our defense. And then we've got our Sam linebacker, or our strong side, the wide side of the field linebacker, which we're going to call Smash in our defense. These guys, their job is to help the lineman up here, first of all, make sure the ball isn't run up the field easily through any of these gaps. Okay, so the A gap, the B gap, or the C gap. So in this diagram, the way that we're set up with the strong side to the defense's left, you can see the red lines are the gaps that don't have a lineman in them or covering them. So a linebacker has to be ready to, at the snap of the ball, step forward and make sure that the ball isn't handed off, for example, and running right here. So if it is, if somebody's trying to run through that C gap, it's Sam's job to be the first one there to meet them. And then our Monster comes in and help. And then our Wham linebacker will come over and make sure that this ball doesn't all of a sudden cut back like Tyson loves to, without having somebody there to help out in the middle. Okay, so our linebacker's job, first and foremost, is to help the line stop the run. They have a gap that they have to step towards first, but if they should happen to read pass, if they notice that the quarterback is setting up to pass and we have to defend the pass, they also have an area, the Sam linebacker has to run back for about 45 degrees angle and help the Joker with this spot. The Monster goes straight back and make sure nobody can complete a pass right in front of the quarterback in that area. And the Wham, or weak side linebacker, would help our Bandit out by going at a 45-degree angle to make sure that nobody can complete a pass easily in like this area. Okay, the seam or up the field in a quick pass kind of scenarios. So just thought I'd provide a little bit of explanation of what you see happening out there and a little bit of a different kind of run through and explanation for the kids who happen to be very visual learners in this day and age. So again, Coach Greg, this is our base.